welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me as always is our resident basketball expert, Tate Mathews. Tate, it's my favorite week of the year. March Madness is upon us. NCAA tournament starts. You got the boys' state basketball championships going on. It's just a really good week.
Oh, yeah. If you're a basketball fan or just sports fan in general, this is for you, man. I'm sure you'll be spending some time down at Buffalo Wings and Rings this week, maybe
Absolutely.
Friday, Saturday,
we got to go down
Sunday.
there and watch March
East
Madness
Monday Rings.
opening games with Mark Cross and his group down there. You know they're going to be prepared for that. And spring sports also starts this week. Baseball, softball, tennis. You know, a lot of good things.
Soccer.
Boys soccer,
Yeah.
track and field. For those track and field enthusiasts like yourself that was a high jumper, it's a great time of the year for sports. Let's start with girls basketball coming to an end last week. On the AAA side, girls Region 6 AAA sectional. Ravenwood finishes the year 21-11. They defeated Lebanon, who was a 22-14 team coming in, 59-50 to get themselves for the first ever state berth on the Class AAA side. Congrats to Mariska Harris and her team. Phenomenal job. Pretty much probably the coach of the year, if you ask me and you ask her peers in the district, 11 AAA.
I think without a doubt, yeah. And it might even be unanimous. Who knows? I mean, not that the other ones didn't do a great job. They did. But to get there, that was really big. First time in school history. And, you know, to get through the district that she had to get through. Great season.
Well, unfortunately, their opening draw was not very favorable.
No.
They end up opening up with Riverdale High School, 33-1, ranked number 1 in the state, rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Ranked number 4th in the country. I would like to see the 3 teams that are better than them.
Me too.
I mean, really, we both went. We saw this game. We saw their team play. It's pretty remarkable on the girls' side.
You know, from a basketball coach, I would like to know, you know it can't be possible, but from watching that game, I saw no weaknesses, absolutely no weaknesses.
That's a great point.
They pressed like a guys' team. They moved. They played defense. And then, we saw Coach Harris down in the tunnel after the game, and, or maybe it was halftime, and she said, we knew we had to take away one. They're so good at getting to the basket and hope they can't hit the threes. And so they did that, and then, I don't know, what'd they go? They went like 9 for 11 from downtown. I mean, just they were shooting threes, and they were nothing but the bottom of the net, those threes, and a lot of them were deep. So they did everything well. Everything well.
They lost this game 77-50 in the opening round. Of course, Riverdale goes on to win the Class AAA state championship, defeating Houston 77-50, the same score. They only won by an average of 24 points per game throughout the tournament.
Well, that's right, and I believe, I'm almost positive, who did they beat in the second round? Was that Bearden?
Correct.
In the semifinals, they beat Bearden. They scored 77 points. They scored 77 points 3 times. So, don't feel too bad about it. I guess what I'm trying to say is Ravenwood might have been the second or third best team in the tournament. They just ran into Riverdale.
Well,
opening round.
You brought up a good point. The weaknesses of Riverdale, if there are any, and there's not really. I mean, the size and the length of that team was probably across the board from 1 to 5, position 1 to 5. Your point guards traditionally, your shorter player, your 2 guard, a little bit taller, so forth, all the way down to 5. But, when your average guard for them is bigger than the post on the team you're playing against. I mean, it was one of those deals, and you watched it and I did too. We're holding our breath every possession for them not to turn it over, not to get up in the passing lanes. When a shot was shot by Ravenwood, the defensive rebound capabilities of Riverdale were second to none. I mean, they get it, outlet pass, 2 passes up, layup. How do you do that? I mean, not only are you sending 5 to the board, you're beating the other team down for a layup. I mean, that's one of those teams that's very special. I mean, I don't know that I've seen. You go back to your boy B. Wart back in the days, Barry Wortman of the Hickman County team, which was the best girls basketball team I've seen, up until this point. I know I sound a little biased, but you have
no, they were good.
You have a Miss Basketball that played and broke records at Ole Miss. You have another Miss Basketball that played at NC State, and you have 3 other players that played either Division II, a smaller Division I school, or Division II in NAIA that put up 70-plus points a game. Now, that being said, they had nowhere near the length of this team.
And they all grew up, born and raised in Centerville, right?
They were not bought, my friend.
I didn't say they were.
They were homegrown.
Really?
Every one of them.
That's impressive. No,
It's one of those lightning in a bottle type situations, right? You know, it's not one of those where, oh, we got a good team, let's move in. Oh, we got another good team, let's move some more in. Oh, we got another good team, let's move. Yes, no, yes, you stay. It's not one of those deals. This deal came all the way through.
That's a special story.
And there's statues and busts back home for these particular girls, including Coach Fortman, and deservingly so. I mean, that's the first state championship. They were nationally ranked, by the way, and beat a lot of good teams. Misty Green, that played for UT, that played for Greene County. You had Livingston Academy along those days that were really good on the AA level. But we're not here for a history lesson. My point being is
that's interesting.
This team that I saw was as good a girls basketball team that I've seen.
I agree. Again, you have to understand, to put it into context, Ravenwood won what I think is probably the toughest district in the state, right? And then they won the region tournament, right? And it was, and I think she'd be okay with us saying this, it was a struggle just to get the ball up the court.
Entry pass into the offense.
Yes, I mean, it was.
Kiera Downey, let's talk about her for a moment. What a phenomenal career she's had here in the WCS Sports Conference as well as Ravenwood High School. Can't say enough about that young lady. I cannot wait to see how her future unfolds. They have some really good pieces coming back. Jazz Harmon being one of those. Jazz Harmon been up and down, injury plagued all year. She comes back out for this game, plays, does as much as she can possibly do. You know, there's some good pieces of the puzzle coming back for the Lady Raptors. You know, this is something that they can springboard off of.
Oh, they can definitely build around it. Then, you know, you've got the Lexi Erickson, and so they've got. You're losing about 16, 17 points a game. Yeah. Really 20 when she wants to. So you're losing. You don't replace a player like Kiera, but they can build around Jazz and the others, and they'll be a little bit different. But who knows? Might even be better. You hate to say that, but you know these younger players are going to be a year older, and now they've been there. You know, I think they've had some. You know, sometimes you have to get to that sub-state game and lose. Maybe a couple times till you get over the hump. So they've been there.
Independence High School, Greg Glass.
Right.
Look at the job he did 3 years ago. To me, better team on paper. Older Murphy's brother playing, Malcolm Walker. You know, that team, Greg's playing, all those guys are really, really solid. They graduate and you're thinking there's no way, and they get to the state semis the following year.
That's right.
Kiera Downey, though, what I'm most impressed with her is down the stretch when they needed her most, after they lost to Franklin on the half-court shot. They finished 4th in the district tournament. They regroup, and Kiera Downey put that team on their back, just like we talked about earlier with Grayson Murphy. Put it on their back. You could see it in her face, see it in her eyes, played the best basketball I've seen her play in her career down the stretch.
Yep. And to get there, I mean, you know, that's I think more than any other, maybe baseball, but I think more than any other tournament in high school sports, you know, yes, do you want to be state champions? Yes. But if you're playing in Murfreesboro,
it's pretty awesome. In
the state tournament, boys or girls, you've done something pretty special. Because there's been a lot of good teams. We got a couple of them here. There's been a lot. That's right. There's a lot of good teams that are sitting at home.
Now, the interesting point of this is Ravenwood was one of 6 that made it to the sectional/sub-state level, most we've ever had in WCS history. I'm hoping that this, like you said, you have to get there and possibly lose to learn from that and move on. There's going to be some teams moving on this next year. Now, I did make a bold prediction back in early fall about who was going to make it to the at least sub-state level. Would you like to refresh our memory?
Yes, Nolensville.
Thank you. And we'll get to that. All right, Brentwood, Lady Bruins. Talk about Miles Thrash, first-year head coach. Lady Bruins finished 23-10. They did lose to a very good 24-9 Mount Juliet team, 63-55 in the sectionals. Izzy Franco, another phenomenal player in the WCS Sports Conference for the Lady Bruins, and Coach Thrash. Trucial twins coming back. Hey, they're almost in the same boat as Ravenwood, a carbon copy of each other.
Yes.
They're losing arguably their best player, but they have a lot of good role players. Somebody's going to step up into that lead role for them next year.
Oh, without a doubt. And you know, I just, all these teams that we talk about, and then even the ones that played in the state tournament last year, you know, you've got these freshmen, man, and they're playing in big time games and scoring in double figures and things. So
to think that they were in the WMAA.
That's right. They were playing the year before. So I got to think that the jump from freshman year to sophomore is just huge. So when you're sitting there and you're looking at Brentwood, yeah, same thing. They're losing their best player, but man, they've got some freshmen that played big time minutes and played and did some really, really good things. So you got to think that they're going to be got to be up at the top with Ravenwood, I would think, for contending preseason favorite, whatever. And then Coach Thrash, the job he did replacing a guy like Coach Siegenthaler, man, and having the season that he had this year. Yeah, man, I think the Lady Bruins.
If there was a runner-up trophy, it had to go to him.
There you go. Well, but then what do you do about Wild?
But you ask John, Coach Wild, he'll tell you the same thing.
He's won enough Coach of the Year trophies.
He has done a phenomenal job himself in what he did with Franklin. But
yeah.
if you asked him right now, he would say, hands down, no argument there, Mariska Harris, Coach of the Year.
Yep.
So on the AA side, on the Region 6 AA side, Nolensville lost to East Nashville 48-43. Interesting note about this, East Nashville was 28-9 coming in. They lost to them earlier in the year in the Hickman County Above the Rim Classic by 30 at Christmas.
Yeah, and I can't remember the exact number. I saw Coach Ladd's quote, like 28 turnovers, 27 turnovers, 29 turnovers. And then they lose by 5 this time around, cut it down to 11 turnovers. That's, that just goes to show the growth that team made during the year, and obviously a great job by Coach Ladd. They were playing their best basketball at the end of the year, which is what you want to do.
Lady Knights finished 22-9. Mr. Producer, please mark this down right now. I'm going to go ahead and put the pressure on.
They're going to win state?
I didn't say they're going to win the state. They are going to be in the state tournament on the AA side.
We'll be there.
Now, here's the thing.
Will you wear like the night costume if they make it?
No, it's automatic they're going to make it.
Will you wear it?
There's potential there.
All right, good.
There's potential. We'll do something. We'll think of something.
Yeah.
The Lady Knights will be in the state tournament. I'm going to tell you why. Do not graduate a single player. Not only that, I'm going to also make a bold prediction. They could be potential state champions 2 years from now, and I'll tell you why. Freshmen, sophomores, all starting right now.
And Zoe Pillar's a freshman.
And she is good.
She can play.
I would say she's a dude, don't want to offend her, but that's a good thing.
But that's a compliment.
She is
that's right.
a very, very good player.
No doubt about it. And only going to get better. So, yeah, I think I don't think that's a bold prediction at all. I think it's a very real possibility and probably will happen. So they were almost there this year.
Now, you got to think they lost to a very seasoned East Nashville, very athletic, quick, pressing style team. Seniors, juniors, I'm sure they had some underclassmen playing as well, but you're taking a bunch of girls that literally were playing middle school ball.
Right. And that's probably the worst kind of matchup they could have had with freshmen and sophomores. The athletic pressing you, pressuring you, you know what I'm saying?
And you
they'll be more equipped for that next year.
A little nervous too, man. All right, let's argue for argument's sake for just a moment. Biggest jump, senior year to first year of collegiate sports or middle school to high school year?
Toughest or where you have the most growth?
I want to say toughest, most difficult. I'm going to make an argument.
I would have thought middle school to freshman, but they're proving all this wrong.
Well, I'm going to make an argument at the fact that you're going in 14, 15 years old and you're having to compete against 18-year-olds.
Exactly.
When you're 18, 19 competing against 21-year-olds, the physicality is going to be similar.
Agreed.
No way it's the same. Agreed. No way it's the same on high school.
I think I weighed 115 pounds when I became a freshman.
I was 155, graduate, 185 at the end of my freshman year.
There you go.
Domino's Pizza was not nice to me. Anyway.
That had
a little bit to do with probably lifting weights, since I did not lift a weight going through high school. So, if you count sitting over in the corner doing the lunge machine a little bit, other than that.
What were those shoes called? Platform shoes?
I did use those.
Yeah.
Those are called strength
shoes. That's
yes,
right.
Strength shoes. I did
We need
use
to bring
those.
those back.
I think I still have them.
It's been a walk down memory lane.
It has been. I'm sure everybody at home who's still tuned in and has not tuned us out is curious about what happened on the boys' side. So let's get to the boys' side. On the AAA side, Franklin finishes the year 28-6. You can't say enough about what Coach Joins has done in his capacity as head coach there at Franklin High School. I mean, the list goes on, and it's more than just athletic. It's academic. It's culturally the whole thing. Coach Joins has brought a spark to that place, and it is definitely. It reached a feverish pitch at the sub-state game. You were there. I was there. Largest crowd that I've seen in Franklin High School since I've been here. I don't know if it was the largest in history. I'd have to say that if it wasn't, I'd like to see the other crowd, because there was nowhere to go.
Well, that's what I was going to say, unless it was held somewhere else, because that gym, there were no empty seats. You couldn't have got. It was probably too full, right? Is that safe?
It was fire marshal.
Possibly it was too full, and he has, and Coach Wild and the Lady Rebels are a big part of that too. But the culture is the number one thing that I think is amazing, man. That place was electric. You know, you didn't have to be a Franklin fan to be in that gym, and for that to be a fun event to be at. The crowd was awesome, the energy was awesome, and it was a great game. And I just, you know, we talk a lot about matchups. I think Mount Juliet was probably.
That's a bad matchup.
It was a bad matchup. I think, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I think if Franklin plays Northeast and Mount Juliet plays Cane Ridge, I think Franklin's playing in Murfreesboro this week. You know?
That's interesting. And I haven't seen enough on Northeast, and I know that he's done a great job up there. They're in the state tournament.
Coach DeGaulle, yeah.
Coach DeGaule's doing a good job up there.
He's a former Camden guy. He's out there kind of in your neck of the woods a little
Camden?
bit. Camden, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a basketball coach for Coach Kreisky's father.
Well, Franklin, obviously undersized, has played undersized all year long with the style play that they have, the 1-3-1, and the shooting capabilities. You know, the Achilles heel, if there is one for that team, would be if you're not shooting the ball well, it does not bode well for you. However, you can't say enough about Mount Juliet. I mean, you watch game film prior to that, watched them play Gallatin, was not really impressed.
Right.
I think that's the fact that because Gallatin was a really good basketball team as well. And you look at those two guys, you look at the two coaches for Mount Juliet and Gallatin, Bobby Luna and Troy Allen, two legends, mythical characters, man. I'm telling you, these guys are great coaches. They've done a great job on the AAA level at those two particular schools. They come in, Troy brings his team in. Mount Juliet, 6'7", 6'6" across the backside. Their guards are 6'3", good-sized guards. It's the first time I've seen be able to attack that 1-3-1 with diagonal passes like they did and really, really kind of shred it up, if you will. I know that you live and die by that. It's kind of like you talk about independence football. What do you think of? You're going to live and die by what?
The pass.
The pass. So, you know, this 1-3-1, people say, well, why didn't he get out of that? Why? 128 games with it.
That's what they do.
Hey, that's what you do. But hats off to Mount Juliet. And it was not the 1-3-1 that cost them the win. What really, really did stand out to me was the fact that their two guards guarded Reese Glover better than anybody I've seen year long. I mean, they really disrupted the flow, the size, the quickness. They face guarded him. It didn't matter if he went up to get popcorn. They were in his face the entire time.
Without a doubt. And there was, it looked to me, I mean, they were almost tugging on him. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I thought it was a great plan, and it almost looked to me like they said, hey, we got 10 fouls between the two of you, and I don't care if we got to use them all, but I want that guy dead tired come the fourth quarter. And those guys are two good defenders too. I mean, they were, and that again, that goes back to the matchup thing. You were talking about Mount Juliet and Gallatin, and that's why those games look like that. Both those guys, that's how they like to play.
Right.
And you know, you can count on one thing. Mount Juliet's going to play defense, and they did. And God, they were bigger than I thought they were.
They were
until we saw them up close. They did a great job. I mean, that's all you can say about it.
You could tell it made them uncomfortable. It was very disrupted the flow of what they wanted to do. You know, you spread the floor, and once he finally got the ball, whether it's running off a ball screen or a handoff, once he finally got the ball, like you said, there was so much energy expenditure by just getting the ball. Then what can you do? You know, shorts. You know, the shots were a little short. Maybe Reese is still Reese. I'll take him every night over just about anybody that was on the floor. This guy's special.
I haven't seen a kid in high school in a long time to where every time he touches the ball, I mean, the gym is paying attention because they know something special.
I would put Grayson in that category.
Yeah, you're right.
And,
but it was a little different.
John Carter, but it is a different. It has a different feel to it.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's given up 3 to 4 inches on everybody he plays, so it's like everybody's like, what's going to happen now? Because he puts people on skates, he can drive. If he goes and drives, he can kick out. If he catches it within 30 feet, he can shoot it. You know, it's just a lot of things that can happen with him that's interesting. And here's the best thing about it: he's coming back.
Well, and I think that's right. That's going to be fun. Mount Juliet plays Bearden in the opening round. They're 37-1. Now, this is what I don't like. They haven't lost to anybody in the state of Tennessee, but they haven't played
anybody.
In my opinion, I think Mount Juliet beats Bearden.
I think they do.
That's how good I think.
I think that's a great. I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. You're talking about their 2 and their 3 guy, left-handed, the red-headed young man. really, really good players, left-handed, really savvy. And then you got the guard, like we talked about, plays great defense. And then you got the two big guys. Good luck guarding those guys. Exactly. So I'm with you on that. I think that Bearden is going to lose their first game of the state and their first round of the opening state. Thanks for coming. Mount Juliet moves on. But 52-46, Mount Juliet beats Franklin. We sound like it was doomsday. They only got beat 6, and they probably didn't play their best game. Also lost Finley. To injury, so he didn't play. I don't know if that's a difference in game. He probably averages between 5 and 8 points a game. You get beat 6.
That's right.
You cannot be upset at what happened. That's the first upstate game they've had since I believe 2004 or 5, somewhere around in that. And they had not been in the state tournament since the year they won it.
Right. 88 or 89.
89, correct. Kevin Anglin, Jay Johnson, what a team that was. But you look at this team coming back. Matt Thurman, super freshman. He's coming back. This team will be centered around and built around Matt Thurman, Big Curl, as the years come around. And if you don't know that name, you will know that name. He is going to be a special talent. He is a back-to-the-back. It's like music to my ears. A back-to-the-back true post with George Mikan skills and up and under. Now, people in the stands will not enjoy that, but as they're chipping away and beating people 20, in that fashion, that's the key. He gets going, guess who gets open?
Reese Glover.
That's right.
And others.
Reese gets going, guess who's open?
Big Curl.
Big Curl. Don't forget that you're here. Evan Sigler, thank you for your time here. Great player, such a high character class act that kid is. 1,000-point scorer at Franklin. He's going to be moving on as senior, as well as the point guard.
Jack Patton.
Jack Patton, thank you.
Competitor.
And those guys are really, really good players. Has some young, talented kids that had lots of minutes this year that will step up behind those guys. Franklin's not dead.
Nope, it's going to be fun.
Centennial, I want to discuss them for just a moment. They did lose to Cane Ridge. We discussed that last week. But I really think that Centennial will be, as well as Franklin, will be the top 2 teams coming back next year. You got to look at that lineup that Coach Froden has. You've got Ashari Hainsworth coming back. You've got Trey Carlton coming back. You've got Dusty Williams coming back. You're losing Hayden Pearson, but they'll fill in the gaps on those guys right there. That team right there has a chance to be really, really good. I think they have an opportunity to get into Sub-State next year.
Oh, without a doubt. And the Cane Ridge game was closer than 77.
What the score indicated,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. Well, what do you mean? That's what it said on the scoreboard at the end. It was closer than that. They cut that thing down. It was close. Cane Ridge got hot. What they hit 11 threes, I think.
Which was part of the game plan. Hey, we're going to let you shoot those things, man, and we're going to move on. But they just happened to run into a buzzsaw.
And some of them were really tough shots.
Cane Ridge moved on, played Northeast High School. We talked about them earlier. Northeast High School is 20. They're one win away from a 30-win season. They're 29-5, and they'll play Riverdale in the opener. We'll get to that in just a moment. On the AA side, Nolensville, the Knights, 17-14. Don't let that record fool you. A lot of those losses came from some of the Big Six schools, and that's something they need to continue doing to get themselves better to play that high competition.
That's right.
They lost to a Whites Creek team that was 19-14, 51-47, 4 points, man. You can't say enough about that. Bladorn is going to be a super stud. There's no doubt about that. He's a Division I player all the way. You've got Wharton. You've got a lot of those kids. All of them are coming back, Tate. Can we make the same prediction about the Knights that we did about the Lady Knights?
I think so. As long as they all come back, I mean.
Who's going to stop it?
I think, a couple of them dual sports. They need to keep being dual sports.
All the way. Don't stop now.
I think they make it, yeah. They're going to be tougher a year. I think that will really matter on this game, but they'll be a year tougher. Not that they weren't this year, but yeah.
Two things stick out in my mind. Okay. Forest High School, you got McLaren coming back as a sophomore, 50-point game under his belt, average 20 a game. Don't think their team's good enough as a team to beat them. Never know, though. Marshall County, KJ's coming back, Mr. Basketball. Word is coming back, maybe not. Who knows what's going to happen there. But Marshall County, obviously, with him at the helm, will be another team. Those are the top 3 teams coming back between them and Nolensville and Forest. So be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, that'll be a great race.
Biggest shocker of the year. Fairview High School, 25 wins on the season, lost to a 21-6 Stratford team, 69-60 in overtime. Listen, had opportunity to win it. Not sure they got a favorable call going their way. Never does happen when you need it. But talk about what Coach McCoy and them, at Fairview have done this year.
Unbelievable. Greatest basketball year they've ever had. And just so exciting to watch, and again, like a broken record, but it's with familiar faces and, guys playing multiple sports. You can't be good in basketball at a place like Fairview if they don't. Nolensville, it's a great story, man, and they were so close, so close.
Got pieces of public coming back too.
Without a doubt.
Group. I mean, obviously you're going to be missing DJ. He's Darius James.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. He's tournament MVP, regular season MVP. He'll be moving on. But
and I know because we've watched it through the years now. That Stratford, Whites Creek, Maplewood, East Nashville now.
Nobody thought they even deserved.
Golly, that's some tough basketball.
Didn't even deserve to be there. Number two, you're going to Stratford. No way. Vegas wouldn't even put this game on the books. It's like this. We're going to lose money. Nobody would vote. Would bet on Fairview. They go up there at their place, has to make some free throws to down the stretch, and then they miss a potential foul call that they probably should have gotten. Just a lot
they were
of
gonna get no breaks there.
Crazy ending. Getting themselves in overtime.
Those guys had to get in the car and make it home.
They foul out Darius James.
Yeah.
Foul out Darius James, and then they end up losing 69-60. But you cannot say enough good things about what Trey McCoy and the Fairview Yellow Jackets. I cannot wait to see what the future holds from them.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. Prediction time. Here we go. AAA Boys State Tournament. Whitehaven, Powell, round one. Whitehaven, I'm going to say, they're moving on. Clarksville Northeast, Riverdale. Your boy Vossi at Riverdale, what happens with this game?
Well, Q, I talked to Barry Wortman earlier this morning. He said what Vossi's done at Riverdale is unbelievable. They're going to go, they're going to defend, rebound. Riverdale gets the win.
Unfortunately, I have to go with
Northeast?
my former employer, my first coaching job at Northeast. I'm going Clarksville Northeast in this as perceived a very small upset. Memphis East, Blackman, just a second. Mount Juliet, Bearden. I think we've already discussed this game. I'm going to agree with you. I think Mount Juliet, what I saw, man, solid team.
Smackdown.
Well coached. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But I think.
No, not score-wise, physically.
Yeah, I think Mount Juliet moves on with their size, is going to disrupt, and their quickness and athleticism. This is going to be the state championship game. Who wins the game between Blackman, 32-0 in Blackman, and a 26-3 Memphis East?
As much as it pains me to say, I've tried to find a way to convince myself Memphis East. They're just too stinking good. You're going to go with Blackman?
Absolutely not. You can take all 7 teams and create an all-star team, and you're not going to beat Memphis East. Folks, they're that good. They're worth the price of admission. Whether they're doing it fairly or not, that's an argument for another day. Shot clock, that's another argument for another day.
I can't wait for that
Memphis East team.
All right, but who's coming from the other side?
Well, you've got Whitehaven, who they've already beaten 6 times, and then you've got Northeast and Riverdale.
I think Riverdale.
I think
Riverdale makes it to the finals.
Hope so.
And then Saturday, the game will be done in less than an hour.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Lick your wounds early. Don't prolong the inevitable. This has been WCS Sports Connection. Thank you for staying with us all the way to the end. We'll see you next time.
Come on, let's get you signed up for the selective service. But you only have 30 days after your 18th birthday. Tomorrow, you're out of time. So let's go to www.sss.gov.
Hey, this is easy.
And it's the law. Every male in the U.S. has to register for the selective service within 30 days of his 18th birthday.